Well,
Hi, y'all. What's up? We're in the hood, West Coast. Recognize something rap oriented, blah, blah, blah.
yeah. Fra la 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 la.
All right,
Yeah,
bro.
you like that? Huh? Huh?
That's like my go-to. Like I'm at karaoke and I'm doing rap. I just go for that. I'm just like la 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 la.
Yeah, I think it's the end of all those songs.
Yeah.
Ra
I
ra
like
ra 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 ra.
style. It's like you're heading into a line and you got to rhyme the next line, but you don't have a word for it, so you just make up a word.
Yeah, yeah,
Who cares? Now the
yeah.
guy sells wine and hangs out with Martha Stewart.
I
So
mean, if you're spitting about hypotenuse and parallelograms, then I'm ready for you.
that's right, exactly.
What? I'm not mathematically adept. I'm mathematically retarded. Welcome everybody.
Oh,
Saturday special.
trying
It's
to get my beer. I'm trying to get my beer in the frame. Oh, it's over here, evidently.
I'm on the low carb keto carnivore diet, so I'm having a Coors
You,
Light.
I am sponsored by Coors Light. They don't pay me or anything, but maybe one day. If I could just get a 12 pack a month, I'd be pretty happy. Coors
Brought
Light,
to you by Coors Light and meth,
shoot,
the breakfast of champions.
man. I've never done meth in my life.
Hmm. Has it done you though?
No, I think I waited too long because my window of opportunity to do like coke and meth, once I started having heart conditions, like I realized like you missed the window, buddy.
Yeah.
Could have done those drugs then, but now you're really risking it. So
Right.
just lay off. Don't do it.
Oh, yeah. There is that argument from who's that doctor? Dr. Carl Hart wrote the book Drug Use for Grown-ups. And he was one of the um, he's a researcher who was anti-drug. And then he realized it wasn't the drug that was bad; it was the people doing it, or how they did it, or what resources they had that made everything bad. And then
Yeah,
he
their
then
headspace.
he then he tried them at like 40 years old. Was the first time he ever tried a drug that was off label. He was like, "Huh, that's crazy. It's not horrible at all. Actually, quite productive. Actually, once again, it's not the chemical. It's society and it's the person and it's yeah. So anyways, hi. That being said,
Yeah, let's get to our topic of conversation.
topic of conversation today is going to be the difference between men and women.
That is not
No,
what I wrote you.
no,
You
no.
read my text.
I read your text. It says I'm like blah blah blah. I want to talk about this topic again. I'm like, oh okay, sounds good to me.
You already covered this because I figured you had more information for me than
No,
what
no.
my day was.
We covered it without coming home with a car. We covered it with no car because things were incomplete.
Yeah, well, I've been through that.
Yeah,
Today was
that was your story. So now we're gonna bring it full arc. Yeah, we have some resolution.
we did. We
Perfect.
had full resolution.
Well, right on. So the topic at hand is getting your child their first car. Uh, what's the experience like? How nerve wracking is it? How do you know you're making the right choice for them? And since Matthew has one first child and one only child, we're going to take his story.
That's all there will ever be because snip, snip, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
I can go out and pound my dick into anything and it won't do nothing.
Wow, that's outstanding. It's good to hear. All right, sir. So you're on deck. So tell me the story, Morning Glory.
All right. Well, as we covered before, it's been a train wreck trying to figure out how to buy a car. So finally, my girlfriend's son, who is a mechanic, works with a woman, and they're getting rid of their daughter's car. She's going off to college.
Oh,
And it's got some scratches and some dings. There's some weird stuff like when you open the door, the stereo doesn't turn off, which we'll fix. It's a harnessing problem.
right.
No big deal. 6 months on the tire. I mean, the car is fantastic, but we don't know going into it. The night before, the guy writes me and he says, I gotta let you know, my daughter backed into a truck and screwed up the bumper. I
Okay.
saw that as like a possibility. I was like,
Right.
oh, maybe I can bring the price down,
Sorry.
but it was nothing.
Again, it's like the devil you know versus the devil you don't know.
Yeah, and he was already given a good price. It was really nice to buy from a friend of a friend
Right.
and not have to deal with the swill merchants that are out there who have taken over. And they're doing their deal, and it's cool.
So
But when
can I ask a couple of questions?
yeah,
What were some non-negotiables that you had for her first vehicle? Like what were absolutes you had to have for her? Or what were absolute no's?
I don't think I had any. I was just going for low mileage, just a little higher mileage than I wanted.
What do you consider to be acceptable annual miles per year put on a car when you're looking at a used car?
In my brain, 15,000 miles a year is,
Reasonable.
yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm right on that or not because I don't drive. I'm stuck. I rarely drive.
Well, from my understanding, for a vehicle that's not used even for commuting purposes, um, 15,000 is pretty legit. It's reasonable.
I think it's the norm, right?
What's that?
I think it's the norm.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. If you're driving
People used to think like 12,000 a year was normal.
a long way to work or
But
something,
that's before everything became so damn rural, spread
right?
out, you know?
You got to realize I live in Texas, man.
Right.
Everything is super. You can drive a day and not get out of Texas.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
When people talk about overpopulation, they're like, no, not even close.
there is so much land out here that is just flat and running.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when they say you can watch your dog run away for a mile, they're not kidding.
Right.
It's a little weird.
I've flown from coast to coast, from West Coast to East Coast. And once you're outside of that cosmopolitan area, there's just nothing.
Yeah.
There's just great expanses of nothing. And the amount of available farmland that's not being farmed, the amount of just
Yeah.
it's wild, man. It's wild. And you're thinking, oh, well, we're worried about overpopulation. Well, you don't have to pile everybody up in the same spot. You're allowed to spread them out a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand it.
Wait. Hold on a second.
Sorry.
You got to put a Walmart up and everything around it It has
Right.
to be the shops that are supposed to be around a Walmart, right?
Yeah, that's true.
What are you, a communist?
There's a town outside of between Tucson and Phoenix, inland a little bit, and say eastern a little bit. It's called Coolidge. Coolidge has a population of 5,000. Coolidge has a super Walmart. Not
Everybody
kidding.
works there.
Yep. I'm like, yeah, I mean, what's the industry? It's literally customer service in Walmart. That's it. And then it's prisons. Florence is the same way. Prisons and a Walmart. You want people
You know,
to
I just got back from the coast last week. I was down in Corpus Christi just for a little getaway, and I was sitting in the lobby waiting for check-in, and that movie was on with Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio.
what's eating Gilbert Grape?
Yeah, yeah, and there was no volume, but I've seen the movie so many times I didn't really need it.
Right?
I remember the whole entire part where they're like, "We're getting a burger barn, burger barn."
Yeah.
Like that was like the highlight for the
Yeah.
whole entire city. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna get a job at the burger barn, you know?
Right. That's where you made it.
And they drove it in, you know, it was a burger barn.
Right.
And I was sitting there, I was like, this is a commentary on life right now. This
Absolutely.
is exactly what you're looking at. This is exactly what you're seeing everywhere.
Yep. All right. So tell me more about the vehicle.
Yeah, just slide back a little bit. I digress.
She got a Maserati.
Vroom, vroom. It was really interesting to watch her go through the process. And I am in a setting that I never thought I would be in.
Awesome.
I am in my ex-wife's apartment with her boyfriend and my daughter and my dog, who now lives there. It was surreal, you know. Like there were moments I was just kind of like, "Am I actually here? Is this actually happening to me right now?" I'm not even sure.
It was surreal how the fact that you never dreamed of that future being how this would all go down.
Yes, yeah, that would be exactly how I would put it, which is okay because it's surprising, you know. And it wasn't a problem. There were no problems
Right.
except, you know, I tossed my daughter the keys. She gets it. She's super excited. Um, you know, I got a picture. I don't know if I put it on Facebook or not, but picture of her with the car. She's thrilled. Everything is fantastic. And at the same time, everything feels disoriented. You know,
Like detached. Yeah.
like you know, and I can't even imagine what this guy is thinking because he's not a bad guy.
Hmm.
I'm lucky, you know.
The boyfriend
The boyfriend, yeah,
of the ex.
of the ex, who lives there.
Right.
Except the ex never wanted to tell me that until finally I was like, "Hey, you know what? I know what's going on.
Hmm.
All I needed to know that he was straight and not, you know, kept my daughter in a safe environment, which he did. He does. It's good. He's got 2 kids of his own. He's already went through it. There was a point in time where we were talking about insurance, and because that was the first thing.
Hmm.
Get on with the agent. I already put it in play. Everything was going. She got all pissy about like, well, I don't want to do, this and that and that. I want it to be as low as possible. And I'm thinking, that's actually our car, not your car. We're going to let you drive it,
Right.
but that's our car, So he started spouting off and telling her, which normally, as a dad, I would be kind of like, you don't talk to my daughter that way. You don't teach her, except
Right.
he was saying everything I wanted to say, except he said it. And then she got all huffy and stormed out of the room. She was all pissed. And I looked at him, I go, I'm so glad you said that.
Mhm.
You're the bad guy, not me.
Mhm. Well, good for him. He earned a couple of brownie points. He spoke some truth.
Yeah.
You got to be the dick. All right. So how old is the vehicle? What year is it?
2013 Ford Escape. It's like a little SUV.
Okay. Little Ford Escape, little SUV. Right on. She's got some freedom.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to deal with that too. I'm waiting for the second part. At first it was I got my license, and now I feel like I can do whatever the hell I want. Yeah, but you're driving my car.
Right.
Now she has a car, but that's why we're keeping the car. It's actually in her mom's name because her mom has nothing to lose.
Because you're on what?
She has nothing to lose.
Oh.
I have real estate. I could lose things, but she doesn't. She just rents an apartment and does her thing. So,
Um.
what are you doing? Are you writing all this shit down? I know you know how all this shit works.
Oh, I do. No, I was opening up this Lucy Juicy Mango Slim pouches. Mm,
I don't know what that
like
is.
12 milligrams of nicotine. Mm. So
Okay.
let's talk about car insurance.
You know what? I'm leaving that up to the mom. We got on it. We got on with our agent that we both use.
Hmm.
Probably go progressive, and she's going to be added to her mom's insurance, not mine. I'm disconnecting as much as I can, just so that I don't get stung with something. So now, can I flip the subject completely? Where are we at on time?
Where are we on what?
140. Okay.
So,
Want to flip the subject?
um, one,
I want to flip the subject.
I wanted to go over insurance.
All right. Well, rattle on, my man. Rattle on. But
We'll do it quickly.
not
So,
like
for those of you who have been paying for insurance your entire lives, suckers, that's all I got to say. Each state has different requirements for what minimum liability coverages that you carry in order to drive a vehicle in the state. They were all set around, I don't know, in the late 70s, these minimum limits. So you have to imagine that whatever those limits are, they may have paid something. It may have seemed like a reasonable amount of money to set aside for somebody's hospital bills and or damage to their vehicle if you hit them. Flash forward 40 years later, not so much. But the minimum requirements are set out that you have to carry. I'm going to use Arizona as an example. We can use California and Texas. It doesn't matter. Most of them are similar. What they require is that you have a minimum bodily injury liability, which is medical payments to somebody else if you injure them in an accident. So these are people you're responsible because you hurt them. The minimum is usually set at $15,000 per individual, with a they call it split limit of $30,000 per accident. That means that more than one person can be injured up to that $15,000 limit, and it goes towards that total number. So you'll have 15, say 15, 30. So if you have Matthew in the car and you run into Matthew, your bodily injury coverage is going to pay for his hospital bill. If he maxes out his $15,000 that your coverage is going to take care of him for, then tough titty. You're out of money. There's no more insurance that's going to pay for his damage. Now, caveat, most people have health insurance. Most people, even if you don't, if you're getting emergency care, they're going to take care of you, obviously, if you're injured in an accident. It just matters who's going to be responsible for that bill when the bill comes due, right? So they're going to go after the insurance company first. Then they're going to look around and see if there's any secondary insurance. And then they're going to see if anybody has any assets that need to be liquidated if those limits were exceeded. It doesn't mean that Matthew doesn't get taken care of, but it's not a lot of money. If you've ever taken an ambulance ride someplace, or had a family member who's needed to get an ambulance ride to the hospital, an ambulance ride itself will cost like $15,000. It'll cost like $10,000, $12,000.
Not in Texas.
Okay. Why is Texas special?
I don't know.
So understand that bills that come due are not necessarily bills that are owed. When it comes to hospitals, when it comes to medical billing, when it comes to insurance, when it comes to lawyers, when it comes to, what do we call them, the bottom feeders and first responders, because first responders to me are not bottom feeders. Debt is always charged at a much higher rate, always. So if you were to call an ambulance service and say, hey, I'd like to plan ahead, and next Tuesday I'd like to get an ambulance ride down to the hospital, they'll be like, oh, okay, well, is it self-pay or is this insurance? Self-pay. Okay, well, we can do it for $300. The price that you're going to get out of pocket for negotiating for yourself is different than if they go, oh, this is for an automobile accident. Cha-ching. I mean, we're going to have to deploy emergency services. Cha-ching. We're going to have people on standby. Cha-ching.
Can I interject a little bit here?
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you who live in Texas, and I cannot speak beyond Texas, all you have to do is send them $10 a month for the rest of your life, and they cannot damage your credit. They cannot do anything. It's a really beautiful system, but they don't tell you about it. But I have a lot of doctor friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they told me, they're like, Matthew, forget the $20,000 in debt. Just send them $10 a month.
I can't hear you.
I just send them $10 a month.
Oh, if you have outstanding medical bills.
In Texas, as long as you're paying anything, I mean, you can probably pay $5 a month.
Right. That comes with any debtor, actually.
Yeah, and they can't do anything. So I'm only speaking about Texas. I don't know the other states and their laws and things like that. But I have a very nice list of people distinguish people who want money from me, and every month I go $10, $10, $10, and then I'm done. And they can't do anything. They can call and harass me all they want.
You can stop that. Actually, they're accepting payments. They can't harass you.
Huh. I'd like to know how to do that because they harass me all the time.
And you just let them know. Say, I already have I have an installment plan. I pay whatever X amount per month.
Yeah,
And
but my
I like you.
installment plan and their installment plan is two different things.
It's okay.
They're like, why don't we do $350 a month? And I'm like, no, here's $10. Bye-bye.
So, how to cheat people that you owe money to? Awesome.
That's pretty much it, man.
Hey, this is the thing when it comes to debt. It's called good faith, bad faith. So they have good faith payments. If you are in good faith, you're making installments to reduce that debt, then they can't come after you the same way they would a creditor who is being ignored.
I got one the other day after you had kind of explained this to me. I got one the other day. They cut my bill in half. And then they wrote this whole entire thing like, this is only available until this amount of time. And I was
right.
Like, garbage.
Yeah, they make you an offer.
Yeah.
They won't settle for this much.
Yeah, they just want half their money. They would be happy with half.
If you have outstanding debt like that, it's okay to talk to the creditor and ask them, what's the minimum amount you would take to write this off?
Yeah, because you told me that. You told me that before. You're like, at the end of the month when they're trying to get their numbers, it's like maybe offer them 20 cents to the dollar.
Right. They probably bought the debt for pennies on the dollar. So they buy the debt from somebody else. And yeah,
but they scare everybody.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's still debt owed. We don't go to debtor's prison any longer for writing bad checks like the old days. You used to go to jail. I think that's why the current administration had passed that 80. They wanted like 84,000 new IRS agents. In order to come after people like us. They want access to your Venmo account. They want access to any place where you're holding money where you might transfer more than $1,000.
Oh yeah. I've seen a lot of that with just my PayPal.
Oh yeah.
IRS last year, they were just like, "What do you got?" I'm like, "Oh, crap. Here's what I got. This is what's going on."
So the other minimum limit that you have to carry in most states, unless you're in a no-fault state, which I believe Florida, you can opt to not carry your liability coverages for other people in Florida. You can sign a contract and say, I'm not paying for the insurance to pay for somebody else's bodily injury and property damage just because as a no-fault state, everybody's required in Florida to carry a medical coverage and as an addendum on their automobile policy, and it covers everybody in the vehicle, anybody entering or alighting from the vehicle and or operating the vehicle with or without permission for like up to whatever the limit is, $50,000. So no fault. I think it's the only no fault state there is where you can reject covering other people because they're supposed to cover themselves. Now, the other one is property damage. They require that you carry property damage, usually a minimum of $10,000. If you go back 35 years, 40 years, The average vehicle on the road was about $10,000. That's why they set that limit. If you total somebody else's vehicle back then, 10 grand would be enough to pay off almost any vehicle. Why
Nowadays,
is it that
not
they
so
keep?
much.
Why is it that they keep that limit at 10,000 now? I mean, geez, I I drove a $60,000 Tesla the other day, for the weekend, and I was like, any damage that happens to this vehicle is going to be expensive. Everything is custom made, OEM.
Absolutely.
But if
Which to give a plug, because I don't normally have television, but
you,
since I went to the coast recently, I got to
Mhm,
watch a little regular television, and I came across this show, uh, Getaway Driver,
mhm,
and it's the girl who was in the Fast and the Furious. It was Dom's girlfriend. She hosts it with a rally champion, and they have like 40 acres, and it's all like different terrain. And they do this whole entire thing where guys come in and they bring their cars, guys and girls, I should say. They bring their cars in and they get to try to get out. There's like two exits. And then on top of that, they don't call them police. That would be, inappropriate. They call them something else, but they're police squads.
okay.
And if they find you, they ram you. I mean, they smash them up. And the reason you bring the Tesla up because the guy had a $90,000 Tesla, and they wrecked it. I mean, they smashed the crap out of this car. He did good on the first round, but then they do a nighttime round. I I really enjoyed the show. I was kind of like, wow, this is really kind of cool. It was like watching Need for Speed, but
Right.
real life. And the one kid who actually made it all the way through, he drove beautifully. I mean, just drift and turns, and just he was crazy. So if you have the means to watch the show, I recommend it.
Rock on. Last part about BIPD. You can carry a personal bond for $30,000 in almost any state. Instead of carrying bodily injury property damage through insurance, you can buy a bond that covers that amount, which means if you become obligated to somebody for damages, then that bond is to indemnify them, is to pay out up to that $30,000 limit. So if you want to try and get away with it, you can. You can carry a $30,000 bond, and you can show the police officers that. I don't have insurance. I do, however, have this bond, which covers a state minimum liability, and I can legally operate a vehicle with this as my coverage.
I totally did not understand anything you just said.
What
That
is a
was
bond?
that was so far over my head.
So insurance is a contract that you have with an insurance company to pay on your behalf
How
if
do you how do you register your car if you don't have insurance?
you take the bond that you purchase, and you can purchase a bond through a bank, through a broker, like a financial broker, or yeah, those are like the top ones. And you can say, I need to buy a bond for $30,000 limit for damage done to others in place of having auto insurance. I'm gonna
Okay,
tell
so
you this.
if I buy that bond, do I have to come up with the 30 grand?
No, no. So similar to insurance, in a bond, if you think about if you get bonded out of jail, like you get a bail
Yeah,
bond, that's a good comparison. If you get a bail bond, usually you have to pay 10% of a bail bond.
I just pay cash.
No, but if you're gonna bond out for like $50,000,
Right. It's
you
tip.
pay $5,000, and that's the cash.
I remember everybody in the cell was kind of like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, because I'm like, I'm not giving them 10%. I'll just pull it out of my account.
No, then you're not getting a bond at that point. You're just getting yourself out of jail.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
you're not. Yeah,
exactly what I did, and it took a long time to get the money back.
you have some. Yeah, and that's the thing is, if you are going to plead not guilty to whatever charges, the fact that you only put up 10% of that bond, and the bonding company is saying, okay, well, we're going to hold the note, which means we're gonna hold the financial obligation for the totality of that bond. Um, so if you get if the charges get dropped, then it's up to the bonding company to collect the money back from the courts. So they're putting up a loan for you, basically. That's also why if you don't go to your hearing, they send out a bail bondsman to collect you, a bounty hunter, so to speak.
Yeah, right.
Their job is to come collect you and bring you back to the court and put you through the process so it can be determined whether or not they're going to get their money back or if they have to get it back from you. That's why that whole industry exists. So you can get bonded up to a liability amount, and then they're going to decide how much it is that you need to pay. In order to be um, a notary public, so I'm a notary public in the state of Arizona. Part of the requirements was to have a $5,000 bond in my name, written by a bank or a insurance company, a financial institution that says I will be covered up to $5,000 if I get sued for negligence when it comes to authorizing signatures, or if I screw up on a contract or something. In order to be a notary, you have to carry that bond. I think I paid $20 in total for my $5,000 bond. It's good for 3 years. I have to renew it every 3 years.
You're notary.
But they know what the risk is. So a company who's going to issue a bond on your behalf, or a certificate saying we're going to cover you up to this amount of money, they're taking, just like an insurance company, they're taking a look at the risk and deciding how often do we have to pay out notary claims up to $5,000. They're not often. The signatures, it's $20. It's fine. So they can be really inexpensive. You can potentially get a hold of a $30,000 bond, general bond for personal liability, if you injure somebody or wreck their car, relatively cheaply. So just an example, it's easier for most people just to pay for the insurance.
Well, hey man, it's midnight my time.
That is your insurance education from the Self Help Show today.
There you go, everybody. It started with just get my daughter a car, and this is how we roll. This is how we do it.
Now, even though you have your daughter in your house 2 weeks out of the month, she's being covered as primary on mom's, that vehicle, and therefore her is being covered under mom's contract, right?
Correct.
So if your insurance company would give you trouble, a little bit of trouble, if they found out that she spent 50% of the time under your roof, they would want proof that she had her own insurance on her own car, in order to not add her to your policy and rate her against your vehicle.
It's all right. She's not driving my vehicle. I just
Well,
bought her.
yeah. Well, people say that all the time. She doesn't drive my vehicle. They're like, yeah, right. Not even permissive use ever. All right, we're going to put her down as a 1% operator on your vehicle. And now your rates are going to go up by 50%.
Nope. Nope.
But
Nope.
if you provide proof or you exclude her,
No. I know where this goes. I'm not doing it. Here's your car.
like I said, all you have to do is show that she's got her own car and insurance, and you're fine.
That's right.
The thing is, a lot of parents won't do that. They just become obstinate. They're like, hey, if you have a 16-year-old in the house, we just need to know that she has her own primary coverage. Can you send us a copy of the declaration page and we'll call it even? We won't charge you. People are like, you just have to take my word for it. We're like, no, no, because if she drives your vehicle down the street and has a wreck, we're going to pay for the claim. So we just need to know that she's got other insurance that's going to go primary.
From now on, she's not driving my vehicle.
She can still drive your car with permission as long as you show proof that she has her own insurance.
Well, and I have my insurance, but she's not on it. It's fine.
Mm.
The big difference is I drive a $60,000 car, and she doesn't. And she doesn't even like driving my car. It's too big for her. Which is, I get it. It's big because I have to fit in it.
My youngest turned 16 yesterday.
Oh wow.
She's in Hawaii currently,
Apparently.
living it up. I don't have any of my children on my automobile insurance. They are all insured under mom's. And I'm the same way. People are like, do your children reside in your household? I said, sometimes. The contract says 57 hours a week. They don't necessarily spend that much in a month anymore.
57 on your side or 57 on her side?
Mine.
Oh, so you got the amount.
Mine shows Friday at they're my responsibility Friday at 3, which is when school gets out to.
Yeah, we talked about that. You really screwed the pooch on this, man. Jeez.
But that's the limits that I actually have them. How's that screwed the pooch? That's legal parenting time based on when we got divorced. Not parenting rights.
I don't think we should go into it
but legal custody.
live.
Meaning they're supposed to be in my care from that time to that time.
You chose the wrong time.
What? I can't hear you.
Chose the wrong time.
It wasn't about choosing the wrong time. It was about choosing the time.
You have to have a life. You need to be able to be out there. You need to be able to go out and cohabitate with people, specifically women.
So when we split,
Right now, not so much because you're, as far as I know, you're covered, which is good.
When we split, I did not have a home. I had a room.
Fucking wow. You're gonna make me be mean. That's what you're gonna make me do. You want me to be mean? I'll bring it.
I don't understand what's mean or not about what our custody agreement was when it was just the fact of when I could actually have them versus when I couldn't have them.
played the nice guy role and you're still playing the nice guy role.
What the fuck are you talking about? Go through divorce with a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 14-year-old. Be 100% responsible for everything financially, according to the courts.
Wah.
And then what? The hours that I say I'm going to have them are not true. I couldn't have them during the week. I lived 20 miles outside of their school district. I didn't have a house. I couldn't afford to live in the same neighborhood that they were in.
Wah.
You look at a nice guy versus whatever. It was practical. It was just reality. When can dad have the kids? Well, he works and makes all the money.
Wah.
So after work,
Wah. Telling you, man.
I guess I'm just having a hard time understanding where your argument matters. Like what did it change, or what would it have changed financially in my life if I
Financially, nothing. That's
right?
not the concept at all.
So from a what, just fight just to fight?
No, no fight, no fight at all.
So lie just to lie?
No lies. Stand strong.
Was that
Stand strong.
stand strong? What are you talking about? If my custody was to have the kids when I was available to have that custody, what is standing strong or weak about whether or not I could legally have them in my possession and be responsible for them?
Because you gave her the weekends where she could go out and party and have fun, and you didn't get it.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have had the kids. When am I going to have the kids? When I'm working? On school nights when I don't have a place for them to do their fucking homework?
Nice guy syndrome.
Dude, you piss me off sometimes.
I know. I told you. You want me to be an asshole? I will.
But if you have a logical argument behind what you're saying other than just this blanket nice guy thing, then tell me what it is. Doing the right thing by your kids is not nice guy syndrome.
No, you live for yourself first, and then your kids will see it. And that is how.
Daddy can't see you anymore because he's living for himself. Sorry.
Ah, man, we better cut this off because
if you're physically incapable of having your possession of your children when you're at work, then
are your kids your friend?
Or mom could have them 100% of the time? That's what we're saying?
Are your children?
You're going to go into this whether I was parenting my kids?
You can cut me off one more time if you want. Your children, your friend?
No.
Or are you?
What?
Are you the parent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And?
John? Are you John?
John's dead.
Yeah. Are you John?
Nope.
Well, step up.
Step up what?
So ask yourself, what would John do?
How is this connecting to? I don't understand. Whether or not I'm their parent or their friend, I'm not their friend. I've never been their friend. It's never been my goal. I'm happy to be the fucking asshole 7 days a week. If that's what the parenting needs. I'm happy to take them on the weekend and continue their their punishment, whatever the hell they warranted at mom's house, they warrant at my house. It's fine with me. Who's grounded? Who doesn't have cell phones? Who's not allowed to go anyplace? But it's the weekend. I don't give a shit. You get in trouble, you pay the price, children. And if I had to spend my time with them, with everyone grounded and everyone in a separate corner of the fucking one room with their nose against the wall, then that's what we did that weekend. Learn your lesson. If you want to have fun, then be a good person during the week. Be a good steward of the family and do what you're supposed to do.
Sounds good.
Did I tell you about my testicle? It's
He does a call back.
like one big testicle. It seems like it's not healthy to have edema in your testicles.
I didn't know you actually had that going on. I thought that was a joke.
No, if it doesn't go down by tomorrow, I need to go to the hospital. I damaged because of my back. When I wake up in the morning, if I'm laying flat on my back, eventually it starts to feel okay. But then when I have to move, because of the constant pressure on my lumbar, I have a hard time moving my legs. So
No idea you were actually being authentic about what you were talking about. I
yeah,
thought we were just joking about giant balls.
no. So when I wake up, sometimes like the hard part is I can pivot up on one hip, but then I have to get my one leg out from underneath the other leg, which requires a bit of effort and pull. And I crushed my testicles between my thighs trying to pivot my leg, and
Crushed your testicles.
mhm. Yeah. So imagine your nuts being smashed between your thighs as you grind one out from the other.
Oh man, what?
Um,
No, you need to go to the doctor. That's not right.
um,
I don't know anything, but I know that's not right.
uh, uh,
Good Lord.
yeah,
Seriously?
I didn't notice until I didn't know that they were swollen until I had to use the restroom, and I sat on my nuts. Uh, I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Are you kidding me?
And I looked, I reached down and I'm like, what is this? And that's a huge one. So
Oh man, you're making my balls hurt just talking about
so
this. My balls are fine.
I damaged them twice. Oh,
What are you doing? You got girls kicking you in the nuts? Because I heard about that. There's like a thing like my girlfriend prior to me there was a doctor in Austin who's a plastic surgeon. And she went on one date, then she went on the second date, and he's like, hey, I gotta tell you, I like to get punched in the nuts.
mm,
And he like had a contraption or something like
mm,
that. And she's just like, something wrong with you, buddy. I mean, this guy really wanted somebody just to like
yeah,
hit him in the nuts, you know?
yeah,
I'm thinking, I don't want anybody to hit me in the nuts.
yeah.
That's
It's a
like
horrible
the
idea.
thing I avoid.
How could somebody take that amount of pain and think like, ooh, that turns me on?
Ooh, that's sexy.
No.
Well, hey, I gotta get off the line. I gotta go to bed.
Whew. All right.
Good call. We did some things we didn't do.
Leave a note if you think if you think
If your balls are swollen, please send Mr. Sinatra some information about how to deal with swollen balls.
yeah. You just do I just squeeze them until the fluid comes out, or
Oh, come on.
what do I do? Ice? I think I need to sit on ice.
That is awful. That is awful, man.
Uh, Gonna have to put them in a wheelbarrow.
You got a little outro for us? Something with Blue Angels or
Hmm.
something spicy.
Oh, Matthew. Well, congratulations for the young one being free and financially responsible. And
Yeah, and you know what? I got um,
Ford Explorers, Ford Escapes, all those are rated very, very well. From a liability standpoint, the damage that they're going to do to other vehicles and the safety features, they're the best rated ones are rated like A, B, C, D, E, and that those Ford Escapes are like a B. They're they're considered good vehicles for a youth to operate.
yeah, there's a whole thing on there like the car won't go over 75 miles an hour if we don't want it to, which I'm not going to put.
Right.
Um, you and I, where are you? You're right there.
I'm here.
You and I. Um, I've got some plans.
Oh,
It's going to be a little expensive. We'll talk about in the future.
awesome. I've been waiting for you to be ready
I'm
for the
stretching
future.
out. Stretching out.
Hmm.
It's gonna be a little gnarly.
I'm down.
On the knee.
Right on, my friend.
Uh,
Well, for Matthew, Guitar Monk, Matthew Dixon, you can check out Zero Limits Music
.com.
.com. He's got some merch. He's got some albums. He's got some good stuff there. Highly recommended. Highly. As for myself,
I personally highly recommend it.
you should. You should. I still have some Click Bank money sitting there. I got to go back and take a look. But we're selling a little bit here and there, a little bit.
Every little bit counts. If everybody gave just $1,
That's it.
Jeff and I wouldn't have to work.
All right. Well, Shelf Help Show out. Have a fantastic night.